Title 42 expires in just about 5.5 hours at 11:59 Eastern Time. Border Patrol agents are bracing for an expected surge of migrants. Who are the migrants? Where are they coming from? And how's the Biden administration or the Border Patrol agents know? There's quite a mixture of people headed this way. On Monday, Border Patrol agents in McCaul, Texas, found child porn on a Chinese migrant's cell phone. Agents who viewed the video say one video showed an adult with a child younger than 5 years old. Another video showed an adult with a girl younger than 13. Homeland Security agents interviewed the migrant. The Chinese migrant said that, yes, he was aware the videos were on his cell phone. He also told the agency he planned to delete the videos before crossing into the U.S., but that he did not get a chance. Chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee and member of the House Homeland Security Committee, Texas Congressman Michael McCaul joins me. Good evening, Mr. Chairman. And tell me, sir, do we have any idea where the people are coming from once they cross over to the United States? How do we keep track of that?
Yeah, it's very difficult to know who's coming in when you have a wide open border. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. I mean, when I chaired Homeland, I always looked at the stats like, okay, what countries, special interest aliens, those are countries of special interest, or are they in the terror watch list? But we do know we're seeing a lot of people coming in from outside this hemisphere. We do know there are hundreds that were on the terrorist watch list. That's a concern, that we're seeing a rise in terror in Afghanistan. And that's precisely why we passed the Secure Border Act today in the House of Representatives.
You talk about the terror watch list. Now, I must say that when I hear that, I think someone presents himself on the border and gives a name. And first of all, you can lie about your name. That's the first thing. The second thing is how good is that terror watch list? I remember years ago is that people would be on the terror watch list who tried to fly just because they had a common name.
Yeah, I think, that mistakes have been made on that list, but by and large, it does have pretty good fidelity. And the fact is, those are just the people who are apprehended at the border that we know about. And, when you have such a wide open situation like this, I just worry about what's coming in that we don't know about. I mean, obviously, there's enough fentanyls coming in to kill 100,000 of our young people just this last year. That's more than Vietnam over 2 decades. And so, and I go back to, again, on day one, this president was sending what was working, the migrant protection protocols, remain in Mexico, and that ended catch and release. I introduced that bill, believe it or not, Greta, 20 years ago. A bill, that was my very first bill in Congress, to end catch and release, and the Biden administration brought it back. But, Congress and the House, we ended that today by our vote. And I hope the Senate will pick it up.
Well, when I was down in Colombia recently, which is the beginning of the walk to go through the Darien Gap up through Colombia and Panama, we were told that the month before, which was March, there were 87 different nationalities of people congregating to come north into the United States. Are we keeping track of the 87 different nationalities when they finally get into the U.S.?
Well, we do have a biometric program that I authorized into law when I chaired Homeland that I hope they're using, because these individuals, Greta, will come in from foreign countries, even outside the hemisphere, and there's no way to know who they are really unless you get biometric identification on them, because they'll often change their names, their travel documents, and it's only through this biometrics that we know the person is who they say they are. But to your point, it's disturbing that we're not just dealing with people from Mexico or, say, Central America, which is usually the narrative, that we're getting, what we call exotics coming in from all these different countries, what we call special interest aliens. So there are several countries of special interest, about 7 of them. And anytime I would get briefed on that, that would set an alarm off in my head that, they're coming up. Now, the fact there were some on the terror watch list is of very much concern. And 5 million encounters since this president came into office. I mean, for God's sakes, 5 million people, we don't know who they are. They've gotten in the country. They live in the shadows. They have no legal status. In these stash houses that Mayorkas waived vetting the sponsors of these children that go to sort of like parents, if you will, 10, 20, 30 kids in a stash house, and guess what's going to happen to them? Sex trafficking, child labor. They go to MS-13. It actually creates a criminal enterprise within the United States where they have to pay back the cartels by dealing drugs within this country. And it raises the crime rate. It brings complete chaos and disorder.
Well, there's another problem, though. Each group sort of brings a different issue. And when we left Afghanistan, we promised, that we were going to take care of these people and not leave them to the Taliban, essentially. We had all these, we promised. And when I was down in Colombia, there were people from Afghanistan who had essentially walked from Afghanistan to avoid the Taliban to try to come into the United States because we failed to keep our commitment to them. Now, I don't know to all of them, but certainly to some of them, I'm sure they're telling the truth.
Yeah, you know how I feel about the disaster in Afghanistan, leaving not only American citizens, but our Afghan partners, and we promised them that we would save them. And again, we had biometrics on them that we left behind that the Taliban's using to hunt down door by door, checking biometrics. They're hunting them down and killing them. And then you see them trying to get into the United States. Now, we have given the Afghans humanitarian parole into the United States, and that's very important. So if we encounter an Afghan national fleeing from the Taliban, that's a classic case of political asylum that our law was designed to protect. But if it's just somebody coming up because of economic reasons, that does not qualify for political asylum. When you're talking about people fleeing from Afghanistan, Iran, maybe China, under oppressive regimes, that's precisely what our political asylum laws were designed to protect, and not to be manipulated by the cartels like they are today, just to make money off these children that really don't have a legitimate claim other than they're fleeing poverty.
Chairman Michael McCaul, thank you, sir, for joining me.
Thanks, Greta, always. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.